I'm going to kind of bring this, Mike was very happy, and I'm going to be slightly less so. Because the topic of the presentation that I want to talk about today is inequalities in the way that people are born and raised. So kind of the subject of my talk is that all men and women are created equal, but all neighborhoods are not. This is an example of an unequal neighborhood. So this is a slum or a project. And you just have to think about what it is to be somebody who is born in this situation, where this is your surrounding area, as opposed to somebody who was born here. Our nice suburb with the lights and the Christmas things, and families inside, everybody has a house with many rooms, and these are the things that are going on. So the myth is that everybody is kind of starting from scratch, but the reality is that some people are starting from one place, and some people are starting from here. And the myth is perpetuated, at least in the United States. There's sort of a right-wing conservative kind of idea. And the idea is that everybody is a self-made individual. Okay, so if you listen to this guy, Rush Limbaugh, he will say this approximately 50 times a week, right? Everything that I have just made myself, and everything that everybody has, they made themselves. And the reality is not quite like that, because some people, as I said before, were born here, some people were born there. And nobody deserves to be born into a poverty-stricken neighborhood. And nobody deserves to be born into a wealthy neighborhood. Being born into a wealthy neighborhood is a privilege. It's something that happens to you. It's a gift that you get from your parents. It's not a right that you have as a human being. People get unclear about the differences between rights and privileges. This is a right. Okay. The right, for example, not to be beaten by the police. That's something that, in America and many countries, we would consider to be just a fundamental human right. A fundamental human right not to just be attacked, not to have your stuff stolen, to be, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as we would say in our Constitution. But the truth about inequality is that when you have inequality, what you have are people who have no privileges and also have no rights. So not only do they not have a nice house, but they are also subject to being abused by the society that they live in. Okay? So, for example, if you hear about somebody getting beaten up in the United States, you don't even look to see. If you hear somebody's beaten up by the police, you don't even check to see what color they are. You don't even check to see what social class they are. You already know. And the cost of this kind of inequalities in our society is that for a population the size of the United States, if you have a 1% increase in the poverty level, so if 1% more of the population is living in poverty, then you have a great increase in crime, about 135 extra crimes. And if you have people in poverty, about half of the poor children that you have, about half of the children born into poverty, become poor adults. So therefore, if you have a lot of poverty, not only do you have a lot of crime now, but chances are you're going to have a lot of crime later. And this problem is going to continue going. And it's not just property crimes, but you also get a great number of increased violent crimes. So there's a direct effect on the life of the people who have privilege on allowing or ignoring the existence of inequality in their society. And it's not just in terms of your safety or the safety of your goods, but you also have costs. I love this number. This is $140 billion, US dollars. And that's just if you take 10 states in the United States. So there's 10 states that are paying, or sorry, it's 14 states in the United States who are paying enough, $10 billion a year in extra costs. It's $140 billion extra dollars. So what doesn't work in terms of getting rid of inequalities in our society? Two things that we do right now. We have welfare, which is just increasing or supplementing the income of people on the lower end of the income scale. And then job training, which is where you have people unemployed to try and train them for new careers. This doesn't work. And the reason that it doesn't work is because the skills that people actually need to succeed in their careers later on in life are skills that they acquire in preschool. Not so much later in school, but in between the ages of 3 and 5 is when people gain the skills that they need in negotiation. So, what are people doing about it? One person who realized that this was a problem is this man, Jeffrey Canada, who was working with underprivileged children in Harlem. And he was working with older kids, and he started realizing that looking at these older kids one at a time wasn't doing him any good. So he decided to cut back on that idea, and instead of focusing on one kid at a time, he focused on an entire area. So this is the Harlem Children's Zone, which is a school that was built, Jeffrey Canada's foundation built this school, where every child within a certain number of blocks gets medical care, their parents get parental training before they're born, and they get moved up through this system until over time they gain the skills that they need to succeed in life. So what can you do to help people like Jeffrey Canada? You can give money to his nonprofit or to other nonprofits. It's always an option. Your wallets can be open. You can also donate time. You have this is the Big Sisters of America program. This is a picture from their website. So you can give time in terms of mentoring people. Although again, the younger you get to people, the better off that you are in terms of your mentoring impact. The third thing that you can do, which is a little bit harder to explain, is you can donate your skills. You can look around. All of us are highly skilled, extremely technical people, and we can use our inventiveness to think about ways that we can contribute to either raising awareness or making communication strategies for people to be able to gather funds, any number of different things. And the last thing you can do is you can simply donate your attention to this problem. You can be aware of the inequalities that we have in our society. You can be aware of the effects that that has. You can talk to your friends. You can talk to other people you meet on the street. And you can always go online